Yeah, I did do a lot of driving in that neighborhood.
And Shmuley Sugar's father comes from there also. He lived like 5 blocks from me on 80th, further down, like Glenwood Road, Avenue G, whatever,
Right. There was a guy I knew in high school that was from Canarsie, Chad Noodleman.
No, doesn't ring a bell.
Hello?
Yep.
Hear me. Okay, that's good. I guess my screen is frozen again. Can you see me moving?
Yeah, we see you. Kind of, or we see you.
Yeah?
Fine. Yeah.
You're lost.
Interesting background.
Rabar, you? Oh,
what?
I'm at a ball game in Scranton.
Oh, yeah. So I did a
can't say any. I ever did a. Yeah, you went to one game?
I went to one, yeah.
I hear.
And
okay, was it hot?
It was very hot, yeah. But I found out Familia's still my friend also. So I have 3 friends there in the bullpen.
Who, Familia?
Yeah.
Oh, he knows you?
Yeah, I know, yeah. The other fellow told me, he looked at me, he did a very nice gesture. He said hello, and then he doesn't have a beard, but he made over his beard like he has a beard, and he pounded his heart.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Here's my view. Look, this is what you want to see what a small stadium is. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, we see it, yeah.
There you go. It's actually pretty packed for this stadium.
Very nice.
Anyway. Yeah. So.
I'm waiting. Is Zev on the shear? No. Where's Zev?
Your son-in-law?
Yeah.
I don't see him. No, I don't see him.
So if you want to start this year, we got a mazel tov.
What's that?
Zev's daughter Dina had a boy today in between the 2 games after the first game ended.
Mazel tov.
Oh yeah, mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Very nice.
Mazel tov.
Very nice. You have a lot of nachas.
Amen. The Zoch is in Far Rockaway in the Harris Street Minion tomorrow night, Mr.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay, you should have a lot of nachas.
Amen.
I guess they're not so scared about the security over there this Friday night. Yeah. Okay, we're ready to roll. We have a minion on?
We got 11.
Okay. Where did we leave off last night? On the top, by the 2 dots, right? Let's go by the 2 dots. Yeah. Okay, good. So Nitzek Nikov. Right? So if it got the esrog is cracked, if it's cracked or it has a hole in it. Honey Ula Bakamina, Nikov Nekov Mafulis the Mashahu. Shane Mafulis the Ka'issa. So if it gets a hole in it, is that noise disturbing?
No, not too bad. It's a little noisy, but we can hear you.
They make more noise in between innings in this stadium than they do when they score a run. You know, the stupidity they're doing. But anyway, so again, Tani Ulabach Hanino, Hikav Nekev Fuller Masha, hole going through the esrog from one end of the esrog to the other end of the esrog, then if it's the tiniest hole, it's a problem. But if it doesn't go all the way through, then the hole has to have the size of an issur coin. I don't know exactly how big that is. Right? So, Now there's a Machlokes Rishonim. What does it mean, Nikav Mefulish? Does it mean that it goes from one end of the esrog to the other end of the esrog? Or does it mean that it only goes from the outside of the esrog into the, how do you call it, the middle where the star? I don't know if there's an English word for that.
The meat.
Right?
The meat of the esrog.
So it's got to go through the meat. It's got to go through the meat to the, I don't know, what's the name for it? I don't remember what it is. So wherever the seeds are, right? So it's a big difference, right? The first shita is that it goes all the way through, right? And the other one is that it only goes through to the middle. Yeah, fine. Okay, so that's halacha. But no, the esrog simone treifa mao. So what happens if the esrog gets simonim of a treifa, right? Now, what's the simon of treifa? So a behemoth becomes a treifa, right? So then it's not going to live out a year. So whatever those simonim are, the question is that going to be the same? If you have the same simonim by an esrog, so what's going to be? So my could be boiling. You want to ask, what's the shaila? If you're talking about where it was peeled, the esrog was peeled, we learned that already, right? That Mishnah says it's no good, or depending on how it's thicker. If it's cracked, Tanina, we also learned that it's a problem. And nikav, if it has a hole, we also learned that. So at Tanina, we learned it. So what passul in the esrog could you possibly talking about that we haven't already covered? So the answer is the shaila was like this what Ula said in the name of Yochanan. If you have a lungs that it's pouring out like water, so it's kosher. So basically what this is that the lungs, I don't know what the name is, but the inside of the lungs became totally worn out, so that it became liquidy, and then you could just turn over the lungs and spill out the liquid. So that animal would still be kosher. Why? Because it could rejuvenate itself. That's what Rashi says. Since the lungs can potentially rejuvenate themselves, the animal can get healthy. But that's only if it has these the article calls it bronchial tube, right? I guess, which is where bronchitis comes from, whatever it is. That those are the things there. Treifa. But if it doesn't have these things, then it's treif, because there's no way the lungs can regenerate themselves. So that's what it says by an animal. But here by esrog, what's the din? Meaning if the esrog is got the outside, the skin is there, right? But it's like liquidy. Inside is it liquidy, but the inside of the animal, the esrog, I keep saying animal, the inside of the esrog is fine. So what's the din? So Gemara says Dilma. So that's meaning. So that's the shaila that we're asking by esrog, and that's a similar shaila to treif. So Gemara says, well, Dilma Hasam hu d'lo shaila by avira. Hadabari there by the lungs where it's not going to touch the air, right? So it's not going to touch the air. Maybe hadabari can get better. Aval hacha the shaila by avira. But here where the air can hit over the esrog, right? Meaning the esrog is in the air. It's going to decay and it's not going to be kosher. But it doesn't make any difference. So that was the shaila, right? So that was the shaila when the Gemara asked, what's the story with Simone Trade? Yeah, so that's the shaila. So the Gemara says, the esrog, the puach, the ruach. So we go through another list. It's a brisa. It's another list of all different dinim of esrog. The esrog, the puach. If an esrog that's decayed, the ruach is rotted. Kavush, if it's soaked, right? Meaning it's soaked in liquid. Shalok, if it's boiled. Kushi, if it's black. Lavan, if it's white. Umanumar, or if it has spots. Passul, they're all passul. Esrog kakadar, if there's an esrog like a ball, then it's also passul. Because if it's perfectly round, it's passul. The yeshem afatiyum. Even if you have like a double esrog, which it looks like twin esrogim, yeah, then esrog haboisa, and esrog that's boisa, which the Gemara is going to discuss soon. Boisa basically means is that it's too small, meaning it hasn't grown yet. So R Akiva passul, v'chom machshirin. So R Akiva says it's passul, and the Chum say it's kosher. God will b'tzfus. Let's say you grow it in a form. Right, so you want to have a perfect esrog, so you grow it in a form, right? Like I think, didn't they try to grow watermelons, square watermelons, so that they could pile them up?
I don't know what they
No,
do.
They still do.
In China, they have square watermelons, yeah, so you can fit
Yeah.
them on the containers
so?
and the trucks. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So you want to take esrogim and what do you call it? And grow them in a tfus, and you'll have
And
your
there's
perfect esrogim. So that's going to be, yeah.
There's a kibbutz that grows esrog in a glass. They sell it as shtick. It's a souvenir from that kibbutz.
Is that so?
Yeah.
I never heard of that. Okay, interesting.
No?
Interesting.
Okay.
So, yeah, so anyway, so you grow it in a tefus, that's actually kosher. It's going to be kosher. Also, come in beria acheres passul. If you make it look like a different bria, then it's going to be passul. And then we'll see on the base that it's going to be kosher, right? Because whatever it is. So what's the Gemara want with all this? The tani miyas tefuach truach. It says that if it's decayed or if it's blown up, whatever it is, tefuach mi b'chutz, tefuach means on the outside, and truach means on the inside. So, and that means that it's decayed on the inside, and the Gemara is saying that it's passul. So you see that this whole shiloh of an esrog that has the same thing as treif, the same simonim as treif, is going to be passul. Right? So the Gemara answers, loy, no, you can't bring a refuah. Idim b'chutz. Both of those are talking about b'chutz, meaning tefuach and struach is b'chutz. So like kasha, other tafach avagav the leisarach. One is talking about where it was tefuach on the outside, right? I'm sorry, no, they're both on the outside. We're saying that the tefuach, even though it's not the ruach. So Rashi basically learns is that it got waterlogged. The esrog got waterlogged. That's tafach, even though it didn't get decayed, but it's full of water. And had the sarach avagav the tafach. And one is talking about where it got decayed. It got decayed, even though it didn't blow up at all. So, but that's what it is. It has nothing to do with the inside of the esrog. So therefore, we don't have an answer that if the inside of your esrog gets mushy or whatever it is that going to make the esrog no good or not?
How do you know if your esrog is mushy? Inside?
So I think how would you ever know? I mean, how do you know you buy an esrog that it's not mushy inside? That you're asking?
Yeah, or how do you know that it's...
Yeah.
Squeeze it. It's the same thing as if you buy fruit that has a mushy inside. You can squeeze it from the outside, it's mushy.
I just wonder if you know what I'm talking. What was I saying? If you take a esrog that's frozen, somebody told me if you freeze an esrog, you take it out, and when it starts melting, not melting, defrosting, right? What do you call it? It'll be mushy on the inside. I don't know. Maybe you.
So you're taking your esrog that you want to use for sukkahs and you're putting it in the freezer, erev yantif?
Yes.
Has anyone ever done that?
I think we tried it once.
How did it work out?
It didn't last too long. Didn't last. So I guess if you take out a new esrog every day for davening, then you'll be okay. Oh. But I don't know. I don't think you have to be kosher that the inside is ruined. And even if it was, the Gemara doesn't answer the question. The Gemara doesn't answer the question. Yes, fine, okay. So Omar Mar. Esrog kushi passul, so a black esrog is passul. But Tanya kushi kosher, we learned that a black esrog is kosher.
Yaakov, is that background noise coming from you?
Yes, you came late to the daf, so you don't know where I am.
Where are you?
At a ball game in Scranton.
I thought maybe you're in the field of dreams.
No, I'm not in the field. I am not having any sort of dream over here. I'm dreaming of being home, if you really want to know.
Oh, okay.
No, but do you know that the Yankees are in the field of dreams tonight? Or you don't even know that?
The what?
The Yankees are at the Field of Dreams tonight, playing the White Sox.
With Kevin
Yes,
Costner?
yeah.
Yeah, they're having some game over
playing
there.
by that-
Yeah.
They're playing there tonight. That's why I said the joke.
I'm dreaming of knowing where we're holding. Where we're holding?
Oh, we're by Omar Mar, around 10 lines up.
We're holding by the fourth
We
inning.
just made us see him. If you're dreaming,
We're
right,
holding by the fourth
you,
inning.
You just missed to see him.
Yeah. Let me tell you, it's getting pretty hot out here. It wasn't hot till now. Okay, so Omar Mar, yeah. So esrog kushi passul, an esrog of a black esrog is passul, but tiny kushi kosher. But we said that a black one is kosher. Daimel kushi is passul. If it's similar to a kushi, then it's passul. So you sefira. One says that a black esrog is kosher, and one said it's passul. So Rabbi, a fascinating teretz. At least I thought it was fascinating. Keep not nami masisim daimel kushi. Now our Mishnah said it's similar to a kushi. Meaning, our Mishnah didn't mean kushi. It means similar. It meant similar to kushi, so therefore it's passul. Now, what does that mean, similar to kushi? Right? And why is it passul? So, the reason is, the Rashi says, because that's not, it's an abnormal thing in our area to have a black esrog. If it would be normal, then it would be kosher. Meaning, if it's daim, what does it mean, daimel kushi? If it's similar to kushi, meaning we're in a town where we don't normally have black esrogim. If we'd be in a place that had black esrogim, then it would be kosher because we'd be used to seeing it. If you're in a place that you don't have it, which is daimel kushi, so then it doesn't work. You can't have it, which is unbelievable because either an esrog is or it's not passul. So it ends up coming out that it's really dependent, whether esrog is considered nice or not, is dependent on what people are used to seeing.
From Yaakov, it's
Right?
like duchening.
What do you mean?
If you have my father, his hands were all covered with paint his whole life. So if he was a kohen, he was a painter. So if he was a kohen in a shul where they weren't used to it, he wouldn't be able to duchen. In a shul where they were used to it, he could duchen. No, doesn't that?
Right. Yeah, right. If they're used to seeing it, that's a good tushta. If they're used to seeing it, then that's it. Yeah, 100%. Right. So that's what. Yes, that's exactly what it's saying here. Yeah, very good. Rava says loy kasha. It's not a kasha. Halon va'alahu. He's saying that one Bryce is talking about a similar teretz, right? But one is talking about us and one is talking about them. Right, meaning us in Bavel. So for us in Bavel, it's going to be right in Eretz. I'm sorry, in Bavel it's going to be mutter because we're used to it. In Eretz Yisrael, that's far away from Kush. They don't normally see it, so then for them it's going to be passul. Right. So that's it's a similar teretz, but it's just a little different way of approaching it. Yeah. What are you saying?
Is this a raya that Kush is not Ethiopia?
Why? Because otherwise it's closer to
Eretz is a lot closer to Ethiopia than Bavel is.
Very good, Gershon. That's the Rashash's kasha.
Yeah.
The Rashash asked the kasha on Rashi, and he says, how can you say Kush is further away from Eretz Yisrael? Kush is closer to Eretz Yisrael. So his teretz is that, I don't know, it says if it's further away, something like that. Something along those lines. It's
The art scroll brings it.
Oh, it does? Yeah, what does he say? And what's the teretz again? What does he say?
He says, this is true only if one travels by land. If one leaves Ethiopia by sea and crosses the Baba al-Mandab, the 25-mile strait at the foot of the Red Sea to Arabia, the distance to Babylonia is shorter than the distance to Eretz Yisrael. Furthermore, the land route from Ethiopia to Eretz Yisrael crosses the Sahara Desert and is thus exceedingly treacherous.
He means it was just more difficult to get there.
So Rashi would seem to mean simply that travel between Ethiopia and Bavel was more common than travel between Ethiopia and Eretz Yisrael.
Okay, so that's what it is.
That's not what the Rashash says. That might be someone else's answer. It's not the Rashash's answer.
That's not the Rashash's
Rashash switches it. No, the Rashash says halon v'halahu is those are to us in Eretz Yisrael and Bavel. It's passul, but in Kush it's kosher. Lahu hainu livnei Kush atzman kosher. V'lon hainu anywhere else.
Yeah, that's the Rashash.
The Shar Mekaymas
Right.
Kulan is lon.
So he's okay. He's saying the same as Rashi, but it's the same point as Rashi. Right?
Yeah, he's just saying. He says the Rashi's going with the normal touch of halon v'halahu is us in Bavel and Lahu in Eretz Yisrael, or vice versa. That's the normal
Right.
touch everywhere else in Shas. Here it has to be different.
Right. I hear. Right. Okay, so whatever it is, but the point is, everybody agrees that it's beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Well, can we say it that way? I mean, it's supposed to be beauty. His are supposed to be beauty, so I would say it's beauty in the eyes of the beholder.
I don't know. Rashi puts the word counterfeit in it. I don't know if it's so much about beauty or people will think you're not using an esrog. You're using a fake esrog.
Where does Rashi say that?
Passul, the first wide line of Rashi. Shenidmel who counterfeit allows.
Oh, counterfeit.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I don't learn Pshat and Lazi Rashi. Doesn't sound like that from the next Rashi. Doesn't sound like on the next Rashi. The counterfeit Taka, that's very interesting.
No, that's the difference between
Counterfeit.
Abba and Rava. Rava is saying it's not a counterfeit thing. There, where it's normal, it's good. Where it's not normal, here it's possible.
You want to say that they're being chaylik? Okay, you're saying that's the Pshat and the Machlokes. Okay.
Yeah.
I hear that. That's interesting. There is a shaila in the poskim. Is it better to have a esrog that has a nicer? It's not as clean, but it looks nice, meaning it's the growth of it is nice, or is it better to have a clean esrog with not such good growth? Right?
Excuse me, what does he say, Art Scroll? Which is closer by land?
No,
Eretz Yisrael is closer by land, Bavel is closer by sea.
Say again.
So that's Eretz Yisrael is closer by land, Bavel is closer by sea.
What? Bavel is closer to Eretz Yisrael by land than Ethiopia?
No. Eretz Yisrael is closer to Ethiopia by land. Bavel is closer to Ethiopia if you go by sea.
One how far from it? Bavel and Eretz Yisrael is from Ethiopia or from Eretz Yisrael? What do we want to know?
From Ethiopia, from Kush. Which one's closer to Kush?
Got it. Okay. I checked the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Okay, but anyway, so that's what I'm saying. That's a shaila in the poskim. Is it better to get a nicer esrog that has a nicer growth but not as clean, or clean and not as nice a growth? So, okay, yesh v'yesh. Yesh v'yesh. Which some poskim say one way, some poskim say the other. Fine. Okay. Now we go back. They're about 7-8 lines over the bottom. Esrog ha-boiser. So esrog, that's boiser. So boiser is really, it's not ripe. That's really what it is. So we keep a passul or chon machir. We keep it says it's passul, and chon says it's passul. Amar Rabba, the Akiva and Reb Shimon amru davar echad. The Akiva and Reb Shimon are saying one thing. Reb Akiva hadamar. Reb Akiva, like we just said, that it's passul, and esrog of boiser is passul. Reb Shimon Maihi, what's Reb Shimon? The tiny Reb Shimon paiter es esrogim bekoitzan. Right? He says that it's passul. Paiter es esrogim bekoitzan. When you're trying to take off maaser from esrogim, if you have esrogim that are too small, then that doesn't have that. You don't have to take maaser from that, right? Meaning, if it's too small, it's not developed, then you don't take maaser. Yeah, but Amrullah and Reb Shimon says part, and Chachamim say no, it doesn't make a difference on the side. So we're saying that it's the same Machlokes here, that the esrog is too small, is the same if for being yotze to the mitzvah of esrog, is the same thing as whether you have to take off maaser. So Abaya said, no, maybe that's not it. Here you need hadar. You don't have that if it's too small because it's undeveloped. So then it's you don't have hadar. Aval hasam to Rabbanan tzriulei. But there he would hold like the Rabbanan that you would have to take off maaser. Inami Or say the opposite. Akan like Reb Shimon Hasam. Reb Shimon over there said that you don't have to take maaser off. Elo desiv aser to aser and told for zarefa. Take off maaser from all your tvua. K'der shebnei adam ma'aser l'zarei. The same way people take out when they take out their fruit for the planting. Aval halacha k'Rabbanan siyuri, but here you would hold like the Rabbanan, right? And then you would have to take off maaser. The sul, then an interesting thing. The Gemara says the sul lekamidi, the sul midi, and there's nothing more to talk about. It's not a comparison. We've had this before. Then an eruvin, right? Sul midi means no more. No, it's end of case. We're not talking about anymore, and they're not comparable. Both cases are not comparable. Right? Now, from what I understand from esrog sellers, from the esrogim nowadays, our esrogim are not anywhere nearly developed. Right? Our esrogim are very, very small. If they would leave them on the trees, they would grow a lot bigger. But they cut them down early. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Weiter. Double the foot. If you grew it in a foot, in a box, the soakim in beria acheres, and it looks like a different bria, then it's passul. So Marava loishon alokim in beria acheres. Alokim a kosher. Right, we only said it if it looks like another bria. But if it looks like an esrog, meaning if you get a form and you grow the esrog in a form that's going to make it look like an esrog, then it's going to be kosher. Shita. So it said, what if shita kamin beria acheres? It says in the Mishnah, if you grow it like, if it grows like another beria, then it's a problem. Mashma that if it grows like an esrog, then it's no problem. My answer is like dafi, which is very interesting. Dafi means that it grows with piece by piece. Right? Doing it piece by piece. So, meaning it looks like, they say it looks like a windmill. Which basically what it is that since an esrog skin is, what do you call it? Goes in and out, so you're doing it with this form that also going to make it go in and out. Yeah?
So
the bottom line is that you can grow it in its foot. Yes, you can. Why people don't do it, I don't know.
So
what are you saying?
If an esrog vendor can sell an esrog more with the gartel on it, he can purposely grow more esrogim with something around it to make a gartel because he can make more money on it?
You mean the Hasidim that like the gartels? You're saying for the Hasidim that like the gartels? Yeah.
They'll pay more money for it.
Yeah.
Not only that,
you're on.
It'll cut out every blettel. There will never be a blettel on an esrog.
You mean because if you grow it in a form?
Yeah. Leaves can't hit it.
Right. So I don't know. So why is it that people don't do this? I know some of the esrogim they grow inside like cloth. No.
They get all of them. They all get grown inside these little like sponge nets.
So then how do they get blettelach then?
They sell a lot of it's from bugs.
From bugs? I thought it was always leaves.
Leaves, but bugs also.
What?
It's from bugs also.
I've seen pictures where
but then
the corners of the leaves get stuck in the net. Then they dry onto the skin of the esrog.
I don't know. So why don't they grow it in box? Maybe there must be a reason why they can't get it into a box or something.
I think they're working on it.
Otherwise they would do it.
They're trying to put the organic price up as high as they can first. Then they can charge even more for the boxes.
I hear. Okay, so let's divide this. The itmar esrog shenakfu akfarim. So an esrog that akfarim mice made a hole in it. Amarav ain't the other. That's not hither. Gemara says, "It's not true." Rav Chanina matzah above and navikva. What should be wrong if it's missing? Rav Chanina used to toivel his fruit. He used to dip it. He used to dip his esrog into sauce. He made it like poppers, esrog poppers. Right? He put it into sauce and he would eat it. Right? And then v'nofakba, and then he would use that esrog. Right? So how can you say that a mouse taking a bite out of an esrog should be any worse than a human? So the Gemara says, well, Rav Chanina kasha masnisin. According to Rav Chanina, our Mishnah is a kasha that it says that the Mishnah says that if it's missing, then it's a problem. So the Gemara says, Bisham masnisin Rav Chanina like kasha. According to Rav Chanina, the Mishnah is not a kasha. Can't be Yom Tov Rishon, can't be Yom Tov Sheni. So one is Yom Tov Rishon, and one is Yom Tov Sheni, because Yom Tov Rishon kosher is a problem. After Yom Tov Rishon, kosher is not a problem. Only hither is a problem. Ela Rav kasha, but according to Rav, who says that it's passul not because of hither, which we said hither lasts all 7 days. So according to Rav, it's a kasha. So he's going to say that an akbar is disgusting. So since it's disgusting, therefore he can't he can't use it, because it's disgusting to use something for Hashem that a mouse took a bite out of, right? So that's how he would answer it. But what do I want to say about this? That's the kasha. How could he take a bite? What are you saying?
I'm saying if it had an esrog that Reb Shayla took a bite out of, or one of Reb Shayla's mice took a bite out of, would be a difference.
Right. I don't know. People I think would take what their mice too, but at this point. But what do you call it? What we're saying that Lamaisa, according to this, you can take a bite out of an esrog and be yotzim, right? And which is really what we paskin. So it's I don't know. I never heard of anybody doing it, but that's really what we were paskin. Now also another kasha is it's muksa. It's muksa, right? Since it's muksa, how did he take a bite out of it? So you have to give the different terutzim. The main teretz is that he had a bunch of esrogim and he didn't make them muksa until he decided to use them. And that's what the Lashon says, that he took a bite at it and then he decided to be yotze with it. Okay, fine. Esrog cotton, a small esrog. I'm a Rafam Bar Papa. The Machlokes kan, just like there's a Machlokes by how small the esrog could be, Kach Machlokes by Vana Mekurzalis, the same thing as a Machlokes by stones, by sharp stones that people use for the bathroom. Right, so really stones are muksa. Right? But for covered abrias, they allowed us to use stones on Shabbos in order to clean themselves. The Tanya b'Shabbos gimel avon and mekurzalis mutar la'achas basically. So you're allowed to bring in three. 3 rocks is what the Chachamim allowed. The kama shiura, and how big were the rocks? The meir is like a walnut, reviewed on mikabesa, which is the same exact machlokes of the minimum size of an esrog. So this the machlokes by esrog is the same machlokes by rocks. Fine.
What exactly is the comparison, other than the size?
That's the whole comparison.
Isn't that a problem with clean lashinus as we had in a couple of masechtas already? I'm comparing it to
what?
Why would the Kainim got punished for comparing the amount of lechem apanim they got to a lizard's tail? Here the Gemara is saying that it's the same as a bathroom stone, an esrog.
No, but it's just saying that the
shear, the size.
Again, what shaykhs? So what? What do we gain by this?
What do you gain? I have no idea what you gain, but it's saying that.
What does the Gemara want with this?
Because I don't know what the Gemara wants. I have no idea what the Gemara wants. It's saying it's the same machlokes, meaning what's this minimum size? An esrog, the same teacher that holds that an esrog is too small or too small, not large, too small. We'll say the same thing by these rocks. Like what's considered a small rock? That's all. What's considered roy to be you clean yourself in the bathroom with? Right? Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go look at the tiyakas, and the big one is in order. How big does it have to be? So we said there's 2, either to hold 1 in 2 hands or 2 in 1 hand. So Tanya Omer Rabbi Yossi Ma'aser Rabbi Akiva Shabbos Beis HaKnesses. There was a story that Rabbi Akiva came to the shul, the esrog al ktefo, and he had an esrog on his shoulder, which means that it's very large, right? In other words, he wouldn't carry the esrog on his shoulder like a bird, right? It was obviously very big. So you see that he didn't care about too large of it. Some of the Rabbi Yehuda Misham Raya, from there's the proof. They also told him that there's no hiddur. Right? They told him there that there's They told them, the Chachamim told them it's not a hither. So exactly what's going on here, I don't know. Right?
See, Yaakov, it's like the Gemara,
Yeah.
10 block, whatever it was ago, when they went to be Mavaka Chayla to the Tana, the
Right.
Beisham and Beisil. And the same thing, they said, what do you do? The maaser was different than what they said, what they thought. When
Right,
they said he
yeah,
wasn't-
yeah.
So that was by the
that's
Sukkah itself, and this is by Dalit Minim. They had the same maaser by both mitzvahs for Yontif.
Right. Then we said, didn't we say there that there were some sheetahs that said it was not a Machlokes in the Messias? Right? I think we said that there were some sheetahs, even though it wasn't mashma like that in the Rishonim. But here, even so they told him, Ein Zehoder. So what? But Rabbi Akiva himself obviously held that there was no problem. Right? I mean, were they bringing a raya from Rabbi Akiva, or were they bringing a raya that the Chacham didn't tell anything to Rabbi Akiva? Right? That's what. So it seems like they were trying to bring a raya from the Chachamim that they didn't say anything. So he answered back. He says, "No, they did say something." Okay, whatever. It's an interesting thing. Okay, let's see the Mishnah. Ein oigdenes a lulav ela b'mino. You can only wrap up the lulav with its own type, meaning you can't use rubber bands, you can't use all those type of things. Even if you use a string that's normally, I don't know exactly how to type this, right? Rashi learns lichvo, whatever that is, right? Whatever it is, it means it's not made out of the esrog, lulav like we use. So so again, Rabbi Yehuda holds it has to be made out of the lulav, and the mayor holds not to be out of anything. There was a story about Anshi Yerushalayim.
Yaakov, I saw a sheet somewhere that says that whatever is kosher for schach could also be used. I don't know if we know it like that, but I saw that somewhere.
Well, it's going to really be the next Gemara's mashma like that. The next Gemara is taka mashma like that. Let's see the Gemara. I don't know if we'll get to it. Yeah, maybe we'll start it. Let's see. Either way, so that's the Machlokes. And the people of Yerushalayim would tie their lulav with gold strings. So you see that the people of Yerushalayim did it with gold strings. So Amrullah, it's similar to the previous Gemara where they denied that that's what it was. No, under those gold strings, they used lulav to tie it. Then they put gold on top of it. So it really was not a problem. So talking about I feel we had this before.
This Rameir who's answering it, that means that he holds that the issue is not a fifth min. It's a chatzitza somehow? Well, what's the problem? Fifth min, or is it idur or chatzitza? What's going on over here? Why would I have to use the same min?
Why would you have to?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a difference what's Rameir answering. Rameir's answering that they put the min under it, and then on top of that they put gold. I mean, if the reason is because it's you're supposed to take dollar minim, not a minim, you're still taking a minim. What does it help that if it's under it, this mina? And if it's hidur somehow, also, it's still not mu'adir. What's Rameir saying?
Yeah, the mayor is answering. He's saying that it's just an extra design. So therefore, I guess that's why it's not going to be maaser. Right?
No, he's answering to a problem.
Rashi's mashma like that. Rashi says, what? It's not l'shem mitzvahs eged. If it's not l'shem mitzvahs eged, so then it's not a problem of a fifth min. It's only a problem of a fifth min if you want to keep it there as l'shem mitzvah. Here, they wrapped it up. It's doing its function according to Halacha, and then they're putting on gold on top of it. So that's not a problem. Right?
Yeah,
that's the way I understand it. Yeah. Okay, so again, Amar Rav, feel b'siv, even with sieve and ikr, meaning the sieve we said is that soft stuff that goes around the bottom of the palm tree, and the ikr is is like the bark of the palm tree, meaning even though those are not the lulav, but since it comes from the lulav tree, that's considered part of the min, and you could use it to tie up the lulav. V'amar Rava, my time is Rabbi Yehuda. Why does Rabbi Yehuda hold that? Because lulav tzarech eged. Because the reason why Rabbi Yehuda holds it needs to be a lulav, because he holds you're mechuyev to tie up the hadas min harav. And if you would use a different type, it's going to be chamishas minim. Right? So therefore, since Rabbi Yehuda holds it has to be tied up, so therefore you have a problem with it. All right. Okay. This next thing is a long Gemara. So let's do it because tomorrow's Friday. Okay. V'amar Rava. It's not hard. It's just a little long. This whole proof. How do we know? How do we know that siv and ikr zikl are considered part of the lulav? Maybe it's different. I mean, even though it comes from the palm tree, who says it's a lulav? The Tanya, Besukas Teshu, you should sit in the sukkah. Sukkah shall call dover. It means the sukkah made out of anything. That's a Rameh holds Rabbi Yehuda. Ain't sukkah ne'eges ela b'dalad minim shebelulav. Very interesting shita. Rabbi Yehuda holds that a sukkah can only be made out of the 4 minim of the lulav. But didn't nighten into kavachaymer. Uma lulav she'ein do ikbaleilas k'biyamim. Lulav, we don't have it by night like we have. We don't have it by night like we have by day. Meaning, we only take lulav during the day. And you can only use the 4 minim. The sukkah, which is more strict, sukkah we sit in during the day and at night, so it's stricter. The einedin shouldn't be a kavachomer. It should only be with 4 minim. Meaning, he's saying that lulav only gets taken during the day. Yet it can only be used for specific minim. You can't just bring an apple or whatever it is. And it's only 4 minim that's allowed. So sukkah, which is during the day and at night, which means it's more chomer. So of course it should have to be from only the 4 minim. So I'm relying.
Presumably he's talking about just the schach, not the walls.
Yes, we're going to get to that, right. The lechayr just means the schach. The Gemara is going to say that in a minute. So I'm relying. Any kavachomer that you're going to try and make something a chumrah, which what he's trying to do here is make it that the sukkah has to be made out of 4 minim. So, but at the end it's going to make a kula, so then that's not a kavachomer. Now why is it going to make a kula? So the Gemara continues until Am Zayin Amud Aleph, loy matza arba minin. So if he didn't find the 4 minim, yoshev a batal, right? Is he going to sit and be batal, and now he's not going to be sit in the sukkah? It's a sukkah made out of anything. Meaning, if you're going to say that he has to have a sukkah made out of only 4 minim, so then he's going to be, so then he's not going to end up sitting in a sukkah. So your chumrah is not being a kula, because you say, hey, I just don't have them. Meaning, I don't have the 4 minim. The same by Ezra, and the same thing by Ezra. It says, "Su hahar." It said, go out to the mountain. I view ale zayis v'ale 8. Out Ali ate Shemin, bring leaves of branches of olives and oil. We had this passul before. V'alei hadas and hadas v'alei sporim and dates v'alei eitz avos v'asu sukkos kakosov and make sukkos like we said. So you see that there's all different types of things to make the sukkah out of, not just the 4 minim. Rabbi Yehuda Sover, and what's Rabbi Yehuda going to do with this pasuk? Rabbi Yehuda Sover hani l'kfanos alei hadas v'alei sporim v'alei eitz avos l'schach. Some of those, when it's referring to building the sukkah, those are for the wall. But the hadassim and the tmorim and the alei eitzavos, that's for the schach. And we learned that, now this is the end of the proof. And we learned that you're allowed to be mesachech when the tmorim. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, meaning you're allowed to use boards. Alma siv ikr zikla mina delulavu, meaning how are you making boards? If you hold that you have to have out of the 4 minim, and we're saying a case where theoretically you could have big boards on top of your sukkah, and it was going to be kosher schach. How do you have big boards if it's made out of hadassim and aravas? Elamai must be that you're taking the tree, the base of the tree, the trunk of the tree, and you're making boards out of that. Shema mino. So you see from there that it has to be that the tree trunks, according to Rabbi Yehuda, have to be considered a lulav, and therefore that's how you could have a situation where you have boards on top of your sukkah that are made out of the tree. So therefore, you see this, that the tree is considered like a lulav, even though it's not the actual lulav. Okay, we'll stop here. Aaron, what time is early Shabbos?
It's getting very early. I think like Mincha 6:15, 6:20 tomorrow.
6:20. Okay, so let's do 5:40.
Okay.
5:40. All right, 5:40. Bez Hashem.
I'll post
Go ahead.
it.
All right, thank you. And I apologize for all the background noise. I hope you
Enjoy the game.
Shaka, when are you
I'm
coming home?
Coming home next Thursday, and then I got to go to my nephew's offer from Borough Park for Shabbos, and then Bez Hashem, that will be the end of that.
Oh well. Okay.
Yeah. Camp ended today. So.
Yeah, I know.
Presumably, there's a chasna after the offer.
There's a chasna after the office. Correct.
Tell you, Gershon, can't get anything past you, Gershon.
No, just the way you said that's that.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
That's over.
All right, Zagaton.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Yeah.
How? Just out of curiosity, how come only one side?
Because then you have it. Then you have 3 walls.
No, I'm saying, but why don't I have to fill in both?
What?
Why don't I have to fill in both?
What? Why do you have to? If you fill in one, you have a kosher wall. You have 3 walls.
But I don't understand. But then there's still going to be a hole in the wall. I'm allowed to have a hole in the kosher wall.
Sala Yotze, Sala Yotze, fine.
You consider it like a doorway, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So
All right, I'll send you pictures.
you're gonna probably want to fit it in because it's what do you call it? Because it'll look more symmetrical.
Well, I mean, it's not going to be a permanent wall. I mean, it's going to be permanent for sukkahs. I'm just going to put something up just for sukkahs.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. I'll figure it out.
All right.
I'll send you pictures when it's done.
All right.
Thank you.
Sammy, you see we're hanging out here? Hold on. I like to come back to civilization. They're warming up there in the bullpen. What is the score? I don't even know. What inning are we in? It's only in the 7th inning? Hi, bud. Okay. Anyway. All right. Have a good one.
So 38. No. I'm